Tres, dos, uno, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Force podcast, a podcast from three, or in this case, two Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd related media. Welcome to our episode 34, episode for Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening
You.
on Thanksgiving Day, happy Turkey Day. And today we shall, be giving thanks for, this new year of podcasting and news and geek culture and media and whatnot, while also discussing the new Spider-Man trailer and other uh, Marvel things that have been announced. So, welcome everybody. Welcome, Mo. How's it going, Mo?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, again, thank our first thanks is to you all, our listeners. So thank you for spending our time with us every once in a while. You could all be doing a lot of better things, but
Yes.
thank you. We appreciate it. I guess thank you. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I'd definitely
thank
be
you.
remiss if we didn't thank Nani as well. She's obviously,
Oh,
as everyone
absolutely.
probably is noticing, she's not with us today. As we've mentioned before, she's in law school and like midterms and finals, whatever's happening is going on despite the student strikes that are going on in Puerto
Yep.
Rico. The law professors are wrongfully still giving class, which that could be a whole separate podcast episode. So unfortunately, she could not join us. So and we wish her all the best in all her studies so that she can get through it, get break the curve once again in all her tests and be able to rejoin the triad. But very thankful for her and her contributions to us. It really has been a gift. So it really hurts every episode that she can't be here with us.
Yeah,
So thanks,
it
Nani.
is.
Much love and much luck. And
And thank you, Manny. Uh, but yeah, thankful this whole year. It's been good for geeks. It's been good for
mm,
nerd. You know, we've
yeah.
we've had. I don't think there's been like a long enough space where there's nothing in between
Hmm.
happening, either from Star Wars or Marvel or like I think we might be living in what I'm guessing was like the same thing that happened when comics were becoming like very popular and they're
Hmm.
just like printing everywhere and everybody's reading one comic or the other. Everybody's watching. Now it's the other way around. Everybody's
Hmm.
watching one show or the other. There's always something going on. We're in the age where everything is interconnected. So
Hmm.
that has
Which we'll
its.
definitely get to when we talk about Spider-Man. But I definitely agree, and I think one of the biggest blessings for the nerddom, for the culture, has been streaming platforms. Because
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I love films and I love going to the movie theater and watching movies on the big screen. But when when there's a movie, it's out. It's only the one thing. It's 2 hours and you're done. You talk about it for maybe a week or 2 weeks, and then it's over. And then you have to wait a couple of months for the next movie. And one big blessing that definitely streaming has done, even though there's too many streaming services and it's really hard to keep up. But at least with that is the barrage of content, and there's always something to watch. There's always something new, and that new thing lasts for a while, which lets us, digest it, and it stays in the consciousness of the pop culture. So that's really good. I mean, today came out. Well, if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, yesterday it came out the new Hawkeye series, which I
Yeah.
haven't been able to watch. I started the first half of the first episode, which uh, as usual, like I think something's gonna be disappointing in the Marvel sphere, and then it's kind of like they do that little twist that you're like, damn it, Kevin Feige, you're always doing it right. But we'll see. I still need to finish the first episode and the second one to actually have a verdict. But streaming has been fantastic in that sense because all the DC stuff on HBO Max, like Teen Titans, and obviously Marvel with the like WandaVision, Loki, Captain America. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but obviously now it's Captain America and the Winter
AKA Captain America.
it's Hawkeye, and then obviously with all those Star Wars Bad Batch. Even though like next year's when Star Wars is gonna like kind of pull the trigger on
Yeah.
all the Disney Plus live action shows, but it's been good. It's been good. It's a good time to be thankful, and obviously I think all of these studios are gearing up. I mean, learning from COVID and what the atmosphere wants in terms of its uh, streaming desires and kind of adjusting to that. So definitely a good year,
Yeah,
despite all the bad things that we have been going through. But we're gonna come out of it that much stronger. So we do
yeah,
have a lot to
absolutely.
be thankful for.
You know, it's yeah, it's been tough year. We're still
Hmm.
into the pandemic. We're still, economically, there's still a lot of factors that are affecting us. But at least we get to enjoy or take some time off with
Hmm.
this franchises that either for some of us they remind us of childhood dreams. For others,
Hmm.
they're starting now and learning about this whole universe, and they're all valid and great. So it's good to be a fan
Yeah,
nowadays. That's
and it's definitely a better time than it was a year ago. Because a year ago, I don't remember if we had the vaccines yet, but if we did, it wasn't as readily available as it is now. So thankfully, everyone or most people are, and if you aren't, you should get vaccinated. And if you have your
yes.
2 shots,
Please
get
do.
your booster shot, so we can spend time with our families and our loved ones. So and like conventions are back too, so like we get to see each other again and be able to spend time with each other physically once again, which is a big blessing, and we weren't there last year, so it's definitely another thing that we can look back on and say like, okay, we've definitely improved and we're in a better place and we're going to keep improving. So
Very
Thanksgiving, thank you, thanks everybody.
good.
We
Thank you
still
all.
have a lot more to look forward to, and like next year we'll be thankful for even more things. So it's always important to stop and be appreciative that we have
Yeah. Oh,
blessings in
absolutely.
our life.
Be grateful every day. It might be a small practice, but just remember always one thing. There's always one thing to be grateful for.
Yeah,
Even if it's
exactly,
just
there's always one. Even
just
if
one,
everything
just
sucks,
one.
there's always one
Even
good thing.
there's so you can have the crappiest, shittiest day ever, but there's one
Hmm.
thing you can be grateful for.
Yeah.
So just focus on that.
It's important. Yeah, it's important to put it in perspective. If you're listening to this podcast, it means that you have internet, you have probably a smartphone, you have a laptop. So you're
Yeah,
doing way better than most people on Earth. So
that is
even
absolutely
if
true.
you're not doing that good in your life right now, put it in perspective. Like, hey, at least you have some luxuries that a lot of people can't benefit from. So that's just
Yeah,
one thing to look
one
forward
thing.
to.
And then, there's we have to also be thankful we're in a universe not like Star Wars or Marvel where psychologists and therapists do not exist. Like
Right.
thankfully,
Right.
in this day, in this whatever multiverse reality, we figure out, hey, we need a mental health. So
Yeah.
please also take care of your mental health. The holidays are also especially difficult,
Hmm.
especially for anyone that might have the SADS, the seasonal affected
Hmm.
depressions, or any non-neurotypical. So take care of yourself. And
There is for everyone that's suffering from that, the best treatment I would recommend is grabbing a ticket, flying down to Puerto Rico. We have the best holidays on planet Earth. It's nice, it's warm, beautiful beaches, happy people, wonderful holidays. So it's an option.
facts. That is one option. Yes.
Maybe don't do an Airbnb anymore back home, because from what I read, Airbnb Airbnb owners are really jacking up the prices. So maybe go back to a hotel. Maybe now hotels are more are cheap, more
Or
reasonable
or,
than Airbnbs.
or
Like the cycles.
hotels, yeah, or do a local paradores, do a
Oh
local
yeah,
inn,
yeah.
uh, stay near a beach, just enjoy the time with the locals. And yeah, and we do have the longest and probably the best holiday season ever. So
Yes. That's science. It's an
science.
indisputable fact. Uh, that's why Puerto Ricans are always happy, because our Christmases last so long that we just have residual happiness for the
We
rest of
just
the
have
year.
residual happiness. When
Uh,
everything is about to go down, it starts again.
exactly. That's exactly right. But speaking of blessings, and speaking of nerd nerd culture, last week or the week before, I can't keep track anymore. Ever since COVID 2020 and 2021, like what is time? And time is
But it's
relative now. It's always been relative, I guess, but now even more so. We were gifted the trailer that we've been expecting, and we were gifted the trailer that is Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was everything that fans wanted to see, except two things weren't in that trailer that everyone wanted to see, but rightfully so. It blew my mind. I thought I wasn't expecting that much from that trailer. But Mo, I think you have. We were talking a little bit before we
Yeah,
were recording, and you had some different opinions, and I like spicy takes, just like when we were talking about Dune, and I like it because now we can have a spirited conversation. What were your
good
takes on the
conversation.
Spider-Man trailer?
I for once before the trailer, I was very excited about No Way from Home.
Mm.
We're gonna see a film with the Spider-Verse in
Yes.
it. Like, come on, like you can't. What amazing levels of possibilities you have already.
Mm.
Then I saw the trailer, and don't get me wrong, there are things that I was like super like I want to see Doc Ock.
Yes.
I want to see Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin again. Like
Yes.
I love
Spoiler
the
alert, by the way, everybody.
spoiler alert.
If you're like the two people on Earth that haven't seen that trailer,
Spoiler alert. Uh, all of those will come back and more. You need to
and
you
more.
like also and
Yeah.
more will come back. Uh, but it also raised a lot of doubts in me. It took a little bit of the
Mm-hmm.
hope of what this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this what I'm afraid of is that they that whoever is involved with Spider-Man still hasn't learned from the lesson of the it's almost like a quintessential Spider-Man 3 because you have to love it and hate it at the same
Right.
time. Like and it brought back all of those memories of like, oh wait, is this what they're going for? But on steroids, because now you
Mm-hmm.
have also not only the Spider-Verse, but the threat of the multiverse with
Right.
Doctor Strange. And it almost I was hesitant. It almost feels like they might be going for way too much in one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because the whole idea of and even the trailer has two stories. You have the Peter Parker trying to make sure nobody else and dealing with the idea of like this everybody knows who Spider-Man is.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not Tony Stark, I'm not Iron Man, I can't have the charisma of a billionaire when I'm a high school kid. Yes, I get that. Like, tell me that story. But then you also add the added, oh, this is also a Doctor Strange intro. Or
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're making a prequel now for another series. Like, and I feel like, and this totally based on the trailer. It's almost like they don't care about the subtlety of what was the first like Marvel, where even though you knew everything was connected, each movie by itself was its own story and its own
Mm-hmm.
thing. This seems like the beginning of like, we're doing movies, but they're more like episodic movies.
Right.
Like so that's where I'm like
Like each
starting
one,
to.
it's like instead of a solo outing, it's like a mini Avengers.
It's a mini adventure of a greater story, and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mind because I'm probably gonna see them, but it also takes away from anybody else who wants to be a fan of Spider-Man by itself and not
Mm-hmm.
be bogged down by everything else that's Marvel, because that
Mm-hmm.
in a way it does take away a little bit of the magic, because you're always comparing like, oh yeah, we're dealing with Spider-Man, but oh wait, I keep forgetting there's like an ultra powerful version of Vision around the universe, multiverse breaking havoc. So why is this important? And
Right.
it does seems to, that's what I'm afraid of, that there's way too many things, they're bringing way too many characters. I mean, I'm glad they're bringing Electro back, I'm glad they're
And
bringing like
redesigned.
and redesign. It's like, so you're thinking like, is this the same Electro from the Garfield movies, or
Mhm.
is this a completely different Electro? Because it
Mhm.
looked like the more classic look of Electro with
Mhm. Stupid headgear thing.
Stupid headgear, yeah. But and then you bring the mummy. Which clearly is the mummy. That's not Sandman. That was
Right. But that's how he looked though in Spider-Man 3 though.
true. Yeah.
So
But now it just looks even more. It's like, come on, you just brought like, and it feels like it's gonna be not only Peter Parker discovering himself, prequel to Doctor Strange, but also Peter Parker doing Ghostbuster thingy and taking away everything that's not part of the universe. Like, I know it's all about, no pun intended, you're spreading all your webs, but are you stretching yourself?
That's good. I didn't see that coming.
But
it's
if it feels like,
it's interesting because I had the opposite reaction in a sense. I mean, I do sympathize with a lot of what you're saying. We'll get into it. But it has been an interesting journey with me, right, for this new Spider-Man trailer, because when all the rumors started coming out like a year or two ago about what this movie was going to be, and everyone, like, the rumors were saying that Andrew Garfield was going to be in it and Tobey Maguire was going to be in it and all the villains were going to come back, I was like skeptical, because this has, we're still in the aftermath of Into the Spider-Verse, which I think was a amazing Spider-Man movie, and that one also dealt with the multiverse and brought in all these different Spider people together and different villains and whatnot. Actually, not that many villains, just like Doc Ock and Kingpin, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is a thing that makes it worse. So like I was with the hangover from that movie. It's just like, okay, we already did it. We need to do it again in live action, because we just saw it. Why do we need to do it again? But when the new trailer dropped, like all of those in it, everything just faded away in my mind. I'm like, yes, especially when I heard Willem Dafoe's voice in that trailer. I was like, come on. And then they gave him, he comes back with this terrible costume from the first Spider-Man. I'm like, yes. Please. Like, what? Why not? Especially Doc Ock. Like, Spider-Man 2 is like my favorite Spider-Man movie of all the Spider-Man movies. Like, hands down. I'd like all these MCU Spider-Man, but for me, Spider-Man 2, that's the one. Doc Ock, boom. That's it. That's the one.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I see it.
But
Doc Ock,
Alfred Molina, we live in his world. He allows us to live in it. But this new trailer, man, it was dope. The whole Doctor Strange thing, I think I still have, I still don't like Doctor Strange that much, because I just think he's like a magical Tony Stark. So and I feel that's what they're doing. It's just like, well, we don't have Tony Stark anymore, for like what they did in the first Spider-Man movie. So like now we have to just replace him with someone else, which in a way, and I'll get to that a little bit more, like it feels like this Spider-Man 3 is undoing a lot of the things from Far From Home, which might make it a weaker movie, but it also could just open the possibilities for it to do all the things that it's trying to do, and successfully. But I really enjoyed seeing all these villains. Sandman, maybe not that much, but we have a secret Green Goblin, which might be Willem Dafoe in a different suit, or it might be the Green Goblin from the Andrew Garfield movies. Obviously, Lizard I thought was fun, because I did enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man 1, so seeing Lizard was pretty cool. Yeah, I've never seen Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I will not watch that movie. I refuse.
Why?
So I've just heard that it's just so bad. I'm just like sticking to my guns, and I'll probably watch it eventually.
It's not that bad.
But everything I've seen is just like, whatever. But seeing,
it's not that bad. And
still seeing Jamie Foxx is still exciting, though, especially redesigned. But so, and what you're saying raises a good point, and I think it's kind of a twofold thing, which is like seeing the characters is fun in a nostalgic way, and I'm afraid that once that nostalgia washes away and you see the movies, it's gonna be like, oh, we're really excited for this movie because it was actually a good movie that really played up the multiverse well, or that we just get excited for this movie because we're just seeing characters that we love from the other movies. And it's always the weird thing to deal with when you're dealing with all these like nostalgic properties, right? Which is kind of the problem that Michael Keaton's Batman might have in the Flash movies. Like, is it gonna work on its own terms, or is it just gonna be played up for nostalgia's sake? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is obviously what you were saying is just like, are we cramming this movie with too much conflict and too many villains to like make, to, because one of the reasons that Marvel fails sometimes in terms of villains is their character development and not having villains that we can empathize or sympathize with. So when you multiply that by X amount of villains, that means you have to develop them as characters. And if you don't have time to develop them, how can we care about them? And if we don't care about a character, then what's the point in terms of their struggle against the protagonist, right? In this case, the three Spider-Man, which we know they're all three gonna be in it, because if you have all their villains, it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah.
But it's Kevin Feige. I'm excited. I don't think the man has missed yet so far. I mean, I think he knows what he's doing when he's developing these films and series. So we'll see. I mean, it could go both ways. I think this could have been like a small movie that dealt with the consequences of people know who Spider-Man is and what does that mean for him as a superhero, and kind of bring it back and keep it a little more intimate. But I also think this could work, in terms of like tying it with all the multiversal narrative that has been happening in What If and WandaVision and obviously Loki, and then seeing the possibilities of that. And it could work in two ways. One, to connect in that sense to the MCU, but also to detach Spider-Man from the MCU, because the rumors are that after this film, the contract between Sony and Disney for sharing the rights of Spider-Man is over. So they might just want to keep Spider-Man now living in the Sonyverse with the Venom and Morbius and like all those films that they're doing now. And this is a good way to achieve kind of both things. Connect the multiverse now, the Doctor Strange 2 going forward, but then take Spider-Man away from the MCU and trap him in this multiverse. We'll see.
Do you think, having said that, do you think this, like the Tom Holland version of the Spider-Man, might die in this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I would be surprised, but I would expect more for them to maybe kill Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield if they're gonna kill a Spider-Man. I think Andrew Garfield makes more sense for some reason in my mind. But no, I think they want to keep Tom Holland. I mean, he's the hot new Spider-Man. He's bankable. So like I suspect that if they were to kill a Spider-Man, they would kill one of the other two, and keep Tom Holland around for a while. Because I think I didn't watch Venom: Let There Be Carnage, but I did read that there was a post-credit scene in which like he sees Tom Holland's Spider-Man or something, and Venom recognizes him. So I think they're setting up that fight. They're setting up Tom Holland versus
I haven't
Venom.
seen any of the Venom ones yet. So
the first one's not good. It's not good. It sucks. It's bad. It's not a good movie. So I'm not bothering with the second one, except for what it means in terms of connecting it to Spider-Man. I'm sorry for all you people that loves Venom. If you like it, that's fine. I don't like it. I think
that's okay.
If you love it, that's fine. Give it 5 stars on Letterboxd. It's okay. We'll invite you over to the podcast and we can discuss why you love it and why we disagree.
Exactly. Sounds good. But do watch, I guess, Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's not that bad. It's a little bit, and it does have a little bit of a tearjerker moment. So
they went with a Pixar moment on it.
Yeah, in a way.
I hope you don't mean the whole Gwen Stacy breaking her back thing from him trying to save her. Okay. Spoiler alert for like how many years old?
And maybe
5 or 6.
Spoiler alert. Yes. Well, to be fair, I only watched that movie because I knew that scene was gonna be there,
mm-hmm.
And I guess it's rewarding. Because I didn't care about the whole movie. I just wanted to see how that happened,
mm-hmm.
and it happens. So.
I mean, I do like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and I don't know why the first Amazing Spider-Man got hate
first
because
one,
I saw a lot of
I
bad.
really like the
I
first
really
one.
enjoy the first one. I think they did a good job at
I think they did a really
making
good
it
job.
different from the first Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
I the thing that I feel from what I've read about Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just that they got a little too tied up with like making it that different than the mystery of Peter's parents and all this thing, and then too many too many villains. So I was just like, you're falling into the Spider-Man 3 trap. That's the Spider-Man 3 trap. You're just pushing too much stuff into it.
Which is what I'm afraid of this one. Like,
Yeah, but in this one you have Doc Ock and Doc Ock. That's the one scene in the trailer that I was just like, oh Lord, this is really
Duck
cool.
Ock with
Is
Iron
that
Man
scene?
technology.
Yes, that scene when you see like his tentacles that was getting the nanotech, this dark thing on it. I was like, oh, what does this
Ooh.
mean? I need to know. And does Doc Ock actually become ally? Because I
I
got
mean,
some vibes that he might not end up fighting
it's
against
yes.
Spider-Man.
Or it's possible that he doesn't have a beef with this Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
anyways. Beef with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that's for sure. And
because maybe they just take out the inhibitor thing that he has that connects him, and they fix him immediately and bypass the whole Spider-Man thing.
and that's the well that then it could also open the possibility. Are we gonna see the timeline where Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's already in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That would be
Doc.
wild.
So who knows?
But my question now is though, like, is what's happening here is that are we plucking all these villains from the timeline of the movies? So like, are those movies in a way kind of erased because the villains don't exist in those movies anymore?
I mean, I'm
And will we see when they take
if
them out of that movie?
I mean, I think we can give them the low key treatment where they're taking out at some point in their timeline while it's breaking.
I think that would be really cool. I mean, I think the movie can only be so long, right? But I think it would be really interesting if they went into the movie and when the multiverse opens up, when Doctor Strange is doing the spell, we cut into scenes from all those movies, and then all of a sudden we see the scene play out different because then we just see them like be ejected into the MCU timeline, and then it's just you get a little Easter egg of like scenes from all the Spider-Man movies in this movie too. It's just like,
I would love to see
Spider-Man,
like a Spider-Man, like it's gonna punch Doc Ock and then
Spider-ception,
disappear. It's like the fuck, let's say that. Like, and then you see all Spider-Man's like, oh, and then you see them all pointing at each other.
I'm sure that they'll recreate that scene in some way.
They have to. They have to.
That meme is so pervasive that they can't take advantage of that. Because I think they did that in Into the Spider-Verse, didn't they? I think there was a scene where
there was a little bit of but it would be nice to get them to see that and to bring them and to make the cartoons kind of like Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right. That would be cool. I think it would be interesting if they just went all in and then connected with the Into the Spider-Verse stuff and then brought the Peter Parker from the animated film into it. But I think that's a step too far. I don't think they have the guts for that right now. That might be something that happens in the future. But I don't know. I think I see your points, and I worry about that as well. Because we were talking about it too, and we were talking about Batman stuff. Batman sometimes becomes bad when it has too many villains in it, like Batman Forever and Batman Robin, The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, Dark Knight Rises is the weakest of the Nolan films, and one issue that movie has, like kind of like with the Talia al Ghul and the Bane, is like too much. Just keep it streamlined. And yes, I know that the Dark Knight had Two-Face, but Two-Face only shows up at the end, and he's not a main villain. He's just kind of a collateral villain to the Joker's madness. So it works in the sense of like corruption of the ideal. Two-Face works more as a concept instead of a main antagonist to Batman. Fight me. I will argue this point.
And that so now you all have to rewatch our Batman episode.
Battle of the Bats.
Yes,
all you people are saying that Michael, just take the nostalgia out. Take the nostalgia out. It's not Michael Keaton. He's top three, but he's not the top dog. And it's also not about what is the best Batman movie. It's not. It's not about who. It's about the best actor that portrayed the character. Which, speaking of which, we should make a little itsy bitsy spider little battle here between you and I. Who is the best Spider-Man before we kind of sign out for the day and let everyone eat their turkey?
Sure. Nostalgia apart. Tobey
Nostalgia
Maguire, I love you. You did amazing Spider-Man. Thank you for introducing. My favorite Spider-Man up to this day is Andrew Garfield.
Really interesting, because I am a big advocate for Tom Holland because I think he is a good Spider-Man and a good Peter Parker. I think Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, and I think Tobey Maguire. I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong, and I
It's
love
Tobey
those
Maguire.
movies. But I think Tobey Maguire's like the bottom of my list, honestly. Even though I
Yeah.
love those movies, but he's the bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom.
I mean, it's just it's just Tobey Maguire dressed as Spider-Man. We all know that.
Right.
Like,
Right. But my issue with Andrew Garfield was his Peter Parker. I feel like he's just like too cool of a guy, you know. He just felt like he didn't feel like a teenage dork the way that Tom Holland is able to pull that off a bit more. You can get that he's and Tom Holland just looks younger, period. So that helps him to look like a teenager and not like a 30-year-old man. But he also has that vulnerability, of like an insecure teen, and and then he has the spunky, funny Spider-Man persona, which Andrew Garfield did very well. Don't get me wrong, but I think Tom Holland's a more rounded Spider-Man. And sadly, we don't have Nani for a tiebreaker here, so we're gonna have to
we don't
call it a tie.
But you see this is what I don't like about Tom Holland Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. I agree with everything you say. Except the fact that part of Spider-Man's backstory is the fact that Spider-Man has no parents. Spider-Man lost Uncle Ben, and yet he's not looking out for a parental figure. And yet all of the Tom Holland Spideys are infused with the idea of like, I need a father figure.
But
that's not Spider-Man.
That's not his. Exactly. That's not the performance fault. That's the script. So again, you gotta detach the character from the film.
Okay. I still think Andrew Garfield is.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, he's good. Like I think the Amazing Spider-Man is underrated.
I feel like Tom Holland is forcing being a dork. I don't think Tom Holland was ever a dork. And Andrew Garfield looks more of like that dork. That
really,
to me, Andrew Garfield is the dork that's trying to act cool versus the cool guy.
And Tom Holland's like the cool guy trying like. Interesting. I mean, I could potentially see that, even though I don't think I'm on board yet. But I could definitely see this. I can definitely see this. But I think we're gonna have to rediscuss like our Spider-Man ranking with once Nani comes back, and maybe potentially talk about the Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Mans, because I think when you put that into the mix, there's a wild card, and Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir might win. I don't know. But with Nani, we'll definitely have the tiebreaker, and it's definitely, we had a battle of the bats, and we'll have a battle of the spiders. So stay tuned for that in 2022 after we watch Spider-Man No Way Home. But with that, I think this is it for the episode. Unless Mo, you want to have any closing thoughts or some more Thanksgiving wisdom you wish to impart on everybody.
Oh, may you. Again, we're all thankful for you all. May you have a wonderful holiday if you can. If not, just rest. Take the time off and sleep in. Just enjoy whoever has a day off. And if not, just find something to be grateful for. So thank you. We love you. We appreciate you all. Keep subscribing. Keep liking us.
Yes. We're thankful for that.
We're thankful for that.
Exactly what Mo said. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you're listening on Thanksgiving Day, thanks for taking some time out of your day to listen to us. If you're listening to us after the fact, thanks anyway. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Uh, we hope you have a great time with your family and loved ones. And if you don't have family you can share it with the found family you found, or with the friends that you have, uh, make sure you tell them you love them. Make sure you tell them you care for them. And tell them you're thankful that they're in your life. We're thankful for all of you people that are listening to us, that for being in our life and joining us in our journey. So happy Thanksgiving. We have been Triad of the Force. Thank you so much. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Just search for Triad of the Force and you'll find us. If you like this video, please make sure to like. If you really like it, please share and subscribe. We also have merch if you want to support the channel, which kind of looks like this. If you're watching on the YouTube, it's on T Public. Just also search Triad of the Force and you'll find everything. I believe there's a sale going on right now for Thanksgiving and Black Friday and all those things. And speaking of Black Friday, don't do it. Don't do it. Stay with your family. Don't go to the stores. Employees don't want to see you. They rather be with their families too. You can just buy everything on Cyber Monday. Just stay home with your family. Enjoy the time. Uh, but with that, we have been Trial of the Force. Thank you so much. And may the Force be with you.